Hi, I'm Rich Carlson, N9JIG. I've been posting pictures of my shacks, both mobile and home, on the RadioReference.com pictures forum for many years, and I appreciate all the responses and questions that these posts have generated. Several times I've been asked to produce a video of my shack and its radios, and I haven't done so until now. My shack now is probably worthy of a video. Recently I rebuilt the shack using rack mounts. I've often thought about doing this. Makes for a nice, clean, and wire-free installation. Due to the amount of radios I have and the varying assignments each have, I thought a three-part shack was best. During the months of the research and planning that I've done in acquiring the materials needed, I looked at several types of enclosures. One idea I thought about was a Motorola Centricom 2 console system that a friend of mine was going to have surplus when he rebuilt his 911 center. I looked at that. It turned out to be too large for the amount of room that I have here, and so I went another direction. That same friend of mine was looking at rack mount enclosures for his new 911 system, and one of the things he was looking at was from a company called Northcom Technologies out of New York. I liked what I saw there, and I decided that that was the product for me. They have standard 2U racks, which are 3.5 or so inches tall each, and each one has there's two models. There's one with a power supply built into one side and space for a radio, and then there's others that have spaces just for two radios. It doesn't have the power supply. Each rack mount is 2U, and they stack up real nice. They're nice painted black, and they use Giotto desk faceplates for the various mobile radios. So it makes it very configurable so that you can pick and choose the radios that you want and put them in any order or any location you want on the rack. With all the different radios I've got, I decided to use three racks. The first rack is stuff that I use 24 hours a day, even when I'm not home. They include 4 radios for fire tone decoding on local fire channels, 2 radios used for data collection for Pro 96Com on local P25 systems, and an ATCS receiver for local railroad operations to feed the growing network of ATCS receivers and servers out throughout the country. On that rack I also have a couple other scanners which I use for some other localized operations. The center rack, which you'll be seeing all these racks in a couple seconds, has basically 9 scanners, and I use that for just about anything I particularly I feel like listening to at the time. I have a scanner that's dedicated mostly to police, one for fire, one for railroad, one for aviation, another one for local operations, one for the local P25 system, one for the local EDAC system, and 2 other scanners that are used just for whatever fits my whim at the time. On the third rack is my specialty rack, and it has an ICOM R8500, a PL decoder, MDC decoder hooked up to the R8500. It's got my ICOM IC7000 all-band radio, and 2 Motorola CDM1250s, one UHF and one VHF, that are used for my local police channels and my work channels, so I can monitor what's going on at work from home, which I do quite often because I'm responsible for all the radios and the communications there, and sometimes I have to be able to listen to that stuff from here. So without too much of further ado, here's my racks and the various setups that I have. This is the right rack, which is used for my all-day 24/7 stuff. On the top 4 radios with the orange displays are the BC15s or BC15Xs that are used for fire tone decoding. In the center row I have my 536 HP and then a 996 HP, or a 996 XT next to that. And then below that are the 2 PSR 600s that are used for the Pro 96Com. I have my HP1, which is mounted on the power supply, and then the Max Track used for the local ATCS channels. On the center rack are 9 scanners and a Kenwood dual bander. The top 2 scanners are just general listening or GRE Radio Shack scanners. Then there's a few BCT 15s and a couple 996 XTs used for local police, fire, P25 systems. And then the third rack is the specialty rack. I got the 2 CDMs. On the top row, I've got the power supply and the IC7000. On the second row, the third row are my 2 decoders. On the left is the PL decoder. The right side is the MDC decoder. It's a Cimarron MDC decoder. And then my IC ICOM R8500 all band receiver. It's got HF and UHF, VHF, all that happy stuff. And then I've got a Microsoft Surface Pro down on the bottom that is used for radio programming out in the car. And then and that actually works very well with Windows 8. My iMac and my Windows machine used to program radios and run my various decoder systems. Go into Windows here. And there I'm running Pro 96Com. I also am running the AirNav decoder for aircraft, and then I'm also running an ATCS server for the local railroad channels. So I do a lot of data decoding that just stays on all the time and is used for that. And then most of my regular activities done in the iMac. There's the radioreference.com site, and that's what I use mostly, and then I use that for my email, my web browsing, create my own web pages and such. And then above each rack I have various handheld scanners and accessories, code practice oscillator for occasionally I get the wind to try some Morse code, a couple scanners, a Woshin, PSR 600, there's a unit in 436, my APX 7000 for work, my CDM 1550, Yaesu and Kenwood dual banders, a frequency counter, and then a couple other miscellaneous radios, microphones for the two-way radios, and such. The racks themselves are heavy wood with black stain. They're made by Chief Manufacturing. They're 10U, and they assemble in about 15 minutes. It's basically a four-sided wooden box with the front panel. The backs are wide open so that the audio is actually pretty good without using external speakers. And then each of the cabinets have their own AC power supply and the 12-volt DC power supply, the Astron SRM25. Each of the three racks has a power pole, 12-volt distribution panel, and a couple of them have AC power strips for various accessories or portable radio chargers. The center rack and the right side rack both have 8-port Stridsberg antenna multi-couplers for the various scanners, and the right rack also has a 4-port 800 megahertz, 900 megahertz Stridsberg for the two Pro 96Com radios and the ATCS radio to use. I also have a couple spare AC power jacks to use for various accessories and chargers that I have up there. I also have a couple spare DC power cords for scanners that I can plug into at any time, and stuffed up there in the corner are a couple extra antenna cables from the multi-coupler so that I can put a scanner on the desk and work on it, check its operation, do whatever I need to do, and then just toss the wire back where I'm not using it and it's out of the way. So that's basically my shack here at home. I designed this so that it's very portable. Each of the 3 racks has an AC power cord and a couple antenna cables coming out. And to pull the rack out, I just take the stuff off the top, pull the power cord, pull a couple of the antenna cables out, and the whole thing will come out, and I can relocate someplace else. We're planning on moving across the country in a year or so, and so basically I'll just disconnect it, pack up the rack as an assembly, bring it into the new house, place it on the desk at the new house, plug it in, and turn it on, and it's all back together again. It took me about 15 minutes each cabinet to put together. It took me probably a good portion of the weekend to rack the individual radios, run the wiring, and set up the multi-couplers, mount the racks themselves, put everything together, run the cabling. I planned out what I would do ahead of time, so I was able to pre-wire the cabinets. So then all I had to do was basically put the radios on the rack, put the rack in the cabinet, and then connect the antennas and power cables and a couple of them audio cables to the rack, and off I went. So like I said, it took me about a weekend to put together. Took it nice and slow and easy. Moved some things around when I realized I didn't like the way I originally planned it. But all in all, it's done very well, and I'm very happy with it. If you have any questions or comments that you want to make about the racks, feel free to look at the RadioReference.com pictures forum and look for the thread called N9JIG Racks the Shack, and I'll be glad to answer any questions or or respond to any comments that you might have on there. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Take care.